whatever milestones that Black people make against hate, it ends up benefiting all the other people of color. I can't see what his end game is. The Republican Party is the party of racism, is the party of white supremacy, is the party of hate. This is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Everybody wants to go back and drag that piece of history up, but they don't want to go back and deal with what their ancestors did to the indigenous people and to Black people in this country. You got to go. And you got billionaires talking about going to space, and Jeff Bezos, go, never come back. I hope you get lost. This man has lost his mind.
Boom! Come on, girlfriend. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out with the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And in 2022 and 2021, being part of that team, we reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. So as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Yes, for those who are regulars, a little bit different today, a little bit different. Around, 6:15, 6:20 Eastern time, my internet went down, and they said that something's wrong with the line outside. So I'm without internet, so I'm here hanging out at my parents' place, Wi-Fi-ish, so it's a little bit delayed. Please bear with me, but we wanted to get things done by any means necessary. And also, you're watching State of Things with Aisha, Jill, and LaLa. And Jill and LaLa are under the weather, but Aisha, even though it's Grammy Awards night, said, I want to come on. So before we go into anything else, a few things. If you are up to it, if you haven't done it already, would love you to subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and or Facebook or wherever you're watching this. Subscribe, especially if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification button. That would be wonderful. Also, if you are watching this before January, I kept on saying January, February. Yeah, it's Valentine's Day coming up. February 16th, 2023. I'm hosting the last part of the 3-part interactive series on how to launch or start a podcast in collaboration with Innovation Guelph. I've had fantastic response, and may even think about launching a course too. Maybe. So there's the link there if you're watching this or live or on the replay. That is that. So she's by herself tonight, but you know something? This is the way we started. This is the way we started many moons ago. This is, you know what? This makes me, a few weeks ago, you said, how many shows we've done? I've got to now definitely do that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely got to do that. So how you doing?
I'm good. It's been quite a week. I'm warm today. Yesterday, I woke up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was -8 degrees. Yeah.
It was colder here.
Yeah, and then probably by about 10, it got to -4. I was supposed to go see my sister, and I said to her, I'm not coming out the house until it's at least 5 degrees. But the ironic thing was that it kept getting warmer. So today, the high was 45. It just, okay. But
Did you go see her? Did you go see her?
I did go see her yesterday.
Okay, good. Oh, you braved it. Okay.
Yeah, I did. That was the only thing I did. I went to see her, came home, and oh my gosh. Oh, God, it was so cold.
Well, and Friday night, Saturday morning was brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it was
Friday
very
night.
Brutal.
Oh, and what? Not only that, but the wind. The wind on top of it was just like people say, you're such a big guy. Well, I said, when the wind's blowing like that, I'm full of holes. So
yeah, well, it started here Thursday night. For some odd, dumb reason, I was out on my balcony for a second talking to my dad. Yeah. When I came back in, I had a very mild, a petit mal seizure.
Oh,
very mild. But the only thing it did was like it's kind of like somebody knocked me in the head and all my words jumbled all over the place. My daughter said when I was talking to her, all my words were out of order.
Ooh.
And it was from the cold. The cold triggered it.
Wow.
But it was much easier to recover than, from that than anything else because it was just cold. But tell me global warming is not real. There's not climate change when you go from -8 to 45 the next day.
Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, that was quite a swing in temperature. Like in today, it's warmed up again. And like all the snow is melting. But funny, 2 weeks ago, you could see green grass.
Yeah. Well, what's so funny? I was listening yesterday, the reports about the cold in the Northeast, and they said that the city in New Hampshire, that's the furthest north, when you go with the wind chill factor, it was -100.
What?
Yeah. People could not leave their houses. They were like, everything was shut down. It's -100 with the wind chill.
-100.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It makes me feel that I had a warm spell because back in February 2020, I went to Yellowknife, which is up north in Canada. I remember getting up one morning and with wind chill it was like -48. So you guys beat us out again. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so we got some people saying hello. Yes, we're on a Sunday today. We wanted to do yesterday, but Jill and LaLa said they weren't well, so I said we'll push it back to Sunday. They're still not well, but Aisha's here, so thanks everyone for watching. Hey, Klaus Durisma, haven't heard from you in a minute. Thanks for dropping by. Blue Rains, thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you all the time. Don't know, I guess the rest of the party is usually wanting us on Saturday night, so I guess Sunday was too much of a hiccup.
And it's Grammy night.
Did people still watch the Grammys?
Well, tonight probably, yeah, because there's some good people there. Beyonce's actually showing up. Like I said, I was watching Stevie Wonder when we were doing the pre-show, and this 50th anniversary of hip hop tribute is going to be massive.
Yes. Do you know who some of the people are that are showing up?
Jay-Z, LL, Queen Latifah, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, Ice-T, Public Enemy, Lil Wayne, MC Lyte, Salt and Pepper. It's a big list. The Roots.
Wow. That may be worth watching.
Yeah, I just recorded it because I knew we were going to be on the show when they showed it. So,
well, 50th anniversary of hip hop, and won't give it away too much, but the Dr. Vibe Show is going to be celebrating 50 years of hip hop in the next few weeks and upcoming months. And also, PBS has a series that has just started.
Really?
Yes, it started in my neck of the woods last Tuesday, called The History of Hip Hop. So
yeah, you know what? I actually caught that. I DVR'd it. I have to watch the episodes.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward because PBS usually does decent jobs in documentaries. So, that is cool. Blue Rains is saying, funny how times have changed. Hip hop artists weren't welcomed years ago, right?
Yeah, well, that's the only little hiccup with this episode was that the group JJ Thad, who had the song Supersonic. They were a little bit incensed about not being invited because they were the first female hip hop group to be nominated in the first Grammys, the first hip hop Grammys. And so they were a little bit incensed that they weren't invited or, to even like just present or anything. So that's the only hiccup.
They weren't invited at all?
Mm-mm. And, this is a Questlove production.
Would you regard him as one of the most powerful people in music these days? Or let me put it, maybe influential, maybe not powerful, but influential, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say he was influential. He's got a very good knowledge of music. I haven't figured out how all of this happened. He's written a couple of books. He's got documentaries. He's actually producing a documentary with my literary client Alan Leeds on James Brown this year.
You're kidding.
It's going to be on A&E.
How did that collaboration out? That who approached? Well, obviously, I'm sure.
Well, they've been working together for a long time.
Come on.
And one of the reasons that Questlove connected with Alan Leeds was because of Prince, because Alan used to work for Prince.
Prince, yes.
Yeah, Jill knows Alan very well.
Okay.
And so they're doing that documentary. I would say that as a historian, he's very knowledgeable.
Yes.
It was kind of like, it wasn't like an overnight thing, because I remember Questlove from the Boys to Men video from Motown Philly, and he was playing drums in the bathroom while Michael Bivins was sitting on the toilet. So
so who came out first, Boys to Men or the Roots?
Boys to Men.
Okay, because the first time the Roots played in Toronto, I did promo for that concert. So, yeah. And the funny thing is, and I did see, and when Boys to Men were first out, I was working for their record label at the time, and they came into town and they did a little meet and greet at basically like a little jazz club, and they sang a cappella for about 30 minutes. And there was only about 20 of us there. It was so intimate. It was so cool. Never forget those two events in my journey. Seeing the Roots for the first time, which is still one of the best concerts I've ever seen, and seeing Boys to Men in an intimate setting. Like, and then and before that, well, there was Take Six before that.
Right.
I'll never forget them either, but they were really good too. But yes, nostalgia. But
I met Boys to Men in 2011. And it was a funny thing. They're like, "You want to take a picture with us?" I was like, "No."
Oh, you didn't go there. You said no.
No, I don't want to take a picture.
Okay. All right.
Which surprised them, because everyone who meets them always wants to take pictures. I was like, "No, I just, the conversation's fine."
Nice. Blue Rain says he's got an Oscar now. Yes, that's Questlove, I believe. Yeah.
For what is it? Summer of Soul?
Yeah. Well, that goes back to that infamous night, which we don't want to go there right now. So let's get into our conversation topics. The balloon. The U.S. military has shot down a Chinese high-altitude balloon after it drifted off the East Coast near the Carolinas. The balloon.
Okay, so I think this is like one of the more, it's serious, but it's also one of the more ridiculously reported stories. The way that it was reported was kind of like, wait, we're talking about a balloon? Just the way that they approached it. But, I think the right is really in their feelings right now, because they don't know how to react to this. They're like, "Oh, Joe Biden should just shoot it down. We should shoot it down. And, if I see it with my shotgun and my AR-15, I'm going to shoot it down." First of all, how the hell are you going to shoot something that's 60,000 feet up in the air with the AR-15? These yahoos are crazy, first of all. Second, it would be a disaster if Joe Biden had acted as impulsively as Trump would have and just shot it down, because that would have been a sign of war. If it wasn't what it was, they had to gather intelligence. They had to find out exactly what was what, and then they shot it down. And it's like, they're like, he didn't shoot it down. He didn't shoot it down fast enough. And now that he shot it down, they're quiet. And they're complaining now. And some of them are complaining that he shot it down. It's like, you can't make these people happy. They just want to complain.
They're complaining that he shot it down.
Yeah, they just want to complain. You can't make them happy. You can't make them happy. But trust and believe, this is not the first time this has happened. I was reading something.
This is the thing. Yeah, go on.
I was reading something that said that even during Trump's administration, it did happen. And we did not know about it because they didn't release the information. And we don't even know what happened with it. But he didn't shoot it down.
I wonder why.
Because China's his best friend, and they own him. They own him financially.
I
But
don't
yeah,
like when I heard that. No, when I heard that 45, this happened in during his term, I said, okay, what's that all
mhm.
about?
Well, that tells you that there's a lot of stuff that he did that we don't know about, and that's very scary. And it's all gonna
Mm.
come. It's all gonna come out eventually. But it's like, how much damage did he really, really do? I think Joe Biden has done a very good job in terms of managing a mess that he was left with.
So, what do you think about the Chinese saying, "Oh, it was a weather balloon"?
No, if it was a weather balloon, they could have just sent it straight up above China and left it. China has weather. What do you need to fly it over the U.S. for? If you want to know what the weather is like in other places, send a
But why don't
satellite.
why do they need a satellite just
Send a
to go on
satellite
the?
up into space. You could get all the weather all over the place. You don't need a balloon. That was there to spy, and I think that the one that happened under Trump was there to spy as well. And you know why Trump left it? Because he wanted those secrets. Because he wanted to get secrets on his political enemies to use in his election, just like he tried to do with Ukraine.
I love the Chinese explanation. Oh, it's a weather balloon. Really?
Mm-mm. I mean, next thing they're going to say it was the Goodyear blimp.
So we haven't seen this young lady for a long time. Chrissy White says, exactly, they have weather.
Right.
I couldn't believe when that was the explanation from China. I said, you got to do better than that.
Exactly. I mean, that is like the poorest excuse. It tells you that they didn't even have an excuse prepared if they got caught.
There you go.
It's like that's the bare minimum that you should have done. You have to have a plan B. What if we get caught? What do we say?
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Doesn't make any sense. Do you think, well, it's already probably escalated the tension between China and the US, but what do you see China well, I'm sure China's going to retaliate some way. I doubt they're not going to take this lightly.
No, but I think that the way that they will retaliate will be financial. It'll be probably with trade. Because remember, we get a lot of our goods from China.
Of
So,
course.
and the reason that we do that is because of the cost. So they will probably limit some things that they trade with us, or up the cost. But they're going to retaliate in some way. But I don't believe that it will be militarily.
Could we see potentially another Brittany Griner incident?
With China,
Yep, because of this.
I mean, it's possible. It's quite possible. Um, but I don't think that they want to do a Putin thing. I think they're seeing how bad this is looking for Russia, all this stuff, and how Russia's coming up with the short end of the stick, and China doesn't want that. They really want to be a force in the world and have people. I think that's the difference between Russia and China, is that China actually wants the illusion of looking like good people. You know,
Sure.
their leadership. They want that reputation of being, quote unquote, the good guys. They don't want to be Putin.
Well, I think also too, China knows from risk where I sit, knows how to hit the US and it's economically.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing, is that they know they control us economically in some ways. So they've got loans that they can call in. If they really want to break the U.S., they break the economy.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Do you think that Biden handled this whole incident on a scale of 0 to 10? How do you rate him handling this incident?
I rather than a scale of 1 to 10, I rate him handling it on the same level as how Barack Obama handled getting Osama bin Laden. Because remember, everybody was like, oh, what is he planning? What is he doing? When is he going to do this? And he had that mission going that nobody knew about because they were collecting intelligence. He was in the war room. They were talking, they were doing what they were doing, regardless of what people, said. And then they announced it. It's like, that's what Joe Biden did. He acknowledged it publicly, but then you can't go publicly and say, hey, we're gathering intelligence, because guess what? China has they have media. They can see. You don't tell your enemy the plan.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I don't understand. It's like, oh, he wasn't transparent. You don't tell the enemy the plan. Do you realize this is not 1950? They can see everything that we say on TV. Period. They can Google because everybody's going to report on it, so they can just Google what the reporting is.
Mm-hmm.
So no, you've got to be stealth mode for something like that.
And the Republicans aren't happy, or are they quiet?
They're on one this week. Oh my gosh, they are on one.
What were you seeing? I know you're online a little bit. What were people's comments online that you saw in regards to this whole balloon incident?
Well, what's so funny is I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it because I knew I read the reporting. I said to myself, you know what? He's going to find out the intelligence and then handle it. He's going to find out what's what and then handle it, because that's how you are supposed to do those things. So I didn't really pay attention to what people are saying, because people were talking like randomly and not knowing anything. They don't know how government works. They don't know how presidents handle these operations. So it didn't make sense for me to listen to a bunch of nonsense or going down the rabbit hole of ignorance. It didn't make sense. So that was one story that I bypassed looking at social media on.
And you spoke earlier on about the media coverage. How do you feel the media covered it?
I think it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It's like, ooh, China has a balloon. There's a balloon flying over the Carolinas. And it's like, okay. Yeah. So, ooh, what's Joe Biden going to do? Oh, it's like, you know what? Let the man do his job. Report that there's a balloon. Here's the other thing, too. We don't need to remember, our government keeps a lot of stuff from us that could possibly and potentially harm us. We don't know how many terrorist attacks they thwart per day. We don't know that. We're totally oblivious. So the truth be told, he could have not told us this and shot it down. The only reason we know this is because somebody got some information and a reporter covered it. That's the only reason we know. It had nothing to do with, because I promise you, there are tons of these drones and things like that are floating above us all the time when we take care of it, and the people don't know. And people, they say, oh, well, we haven't been attacked. The whole thing like, oh, we haven't been attacked since 9/11 from, by terrorists. That's because we don't know the plots that have been thwarted.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You don't know what you don't know.
Well, these days, the more I know, the less I understand these days. So I don't, I just thought this was just a really interesting story. And obviously, if I've been told correctly, there's also another one flying in the Central America.
Yeah. And guess what? That's for them to handle. Americans need to keep their opinions to themselves about how they should handle it.
Wow. Interesting story.
That is the one thing that I did see that was ridiculous online. It's like, oh, and then we need to go take care of the one in South America. No, we don't. That's not our country.
Stay out of other people's business.
That's part of our problem in this country. People don't know how to mind their damn business.
Not only within America, but outside of America, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
Please, a lot of our issues wouldn't be our issues if people just minded their business. Do you know how many Black people would still be alive if certain white people just minded their business and didn't call the police?
Yeah, probably a lot. Probably a lot. Probably a lot. Okay, let's move on to our next conversation topic. We've got Republicans oust Ilhan Omar from powerful House Committee. Why did you want to rap about this one?
Because I'm angry. I'm
Uh-oh.
so angry at everyone. Okay. So everyone, the reason they did this, they don't like her because she's a Black Muslim woman, first of all. But second of all, they're claiming she made anti-Semitic remarks when she said something about Israel, and it's all about the Benjamins. So Jewish people call that out as anti-Semitic. Here's why it's not, and here's why I'm mad. First of all, if you are of a certain age and you know hip hop, you know that it's all about the Benjamins refers to a 1997 song by Diddy and the Family.
Yep.
And they're talking about Ben Franklin 100s, Benjamin Franklin. That's who they're talking about. Not a Jewish person, not the stereotype about Jewish people and money. They're talking about the literal $100 bills. The song is literally about stacking 100s. That's what it's about. If you know the lyrics, you know that's what it's about. Because as much as Hakeem Jeffries quotes Biggie on the House floor, if you don't know now, you know, and spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. He hasn't opened his mouth to tell these people, look, that's not what that means. You all got, it's like, and here's my thing. Hip hop is 50 years old. How do you think you all got to know Diddy? That song is the one that really, really blew him up. So it's like, if it's the mainstream now, you should at least know some of the iconic things about it. I mean, people have been saying it's all about the Benjamins since 1997. And specifically, it's about the Benjamins with the big faces. Because remember, they had changed the $100 bills in the U.S. So the 100s had the big faces.
Yep.
Because they specifically referenced that in the song.
Yep.
So this ousting of her, and that being the reason why pisses me off, and no one came to her defense about it. No one has come to her defense about that. The second thing is that they gave plum committee seats to a person who threatened to kill a fellow House member.
Who would that?
That would be Gosar. Marjorie Taylor Greene was very anti-Semitic with her Jewish spaceships or space lasers or whatever. That was very blatant. But the only reason they went after Ilhan Omar for saying that is because she is Muslim. Period. And there is a long history between Muslims and Jews, particularly in this country. And, people had they linked that to Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah.
And so they assume that, first of all, that she is a Black Muslim of the Nation of Islam, which she's not. So it just boggles my mind. I'm so angry, particularly from the Democratic Caucus.
Why so?
Because I don't think anyone they didn't ask her, what did you mean by that? They just said apologize. What's the meaning behind this? Apologize. Because the leadership at the time was old and antiquated. They wouldn't know a hip from a hop. Please, you think, can you really picture Nancy Pelosi, doing the Diddy Bop to Lil Kim's verse in that song? Come on.
No. No. So then, does this, in your opinion, then show a fractured Democratic Party?
It doesn't show a fractured Democratic Party because they did come to her defense when they were doing the voting. It just makes me mad that that one point has never come to light. And I get mad that every couple months I have to remind people of that on Twitter. Because you know that I do every couple months. Let me just remind everyone that this is not anti-Semitic. And what really kills me, when reporting this the other day, you know who else bothered me that he didn't say anything? Freaking Ari Melber. And he is Jewish. As much as he quotes hip-hop lyrics on his show, and he didn't say anything, it's like, come on. So I tweeted Hakeem Jeffries.
Oh.
I did. And I tweeted him. I told him exactly what I said here. And then and then I quoted the song.
Wow.
I told him, "Player, you mad boss," which comes from the song. I said, which comes from the same song.
So you gave him his hip hop back at him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, is it Joe? The Republicans are just playing tit for tat on this. They're really just.
Yeah, I mean, they really are. They targeted her specifically. It was because they're trying to make her an example.
Yeah.
And then with Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell, that whole thing was really just because they were on the impeachment.
Yes.
They led the impeachment. So it's like, come on now. Come on. And here's the thing. Kevin McCarthy needs to be careful.
Okay, yeah. Did you not share a photo of him with some? Well,
Kristen Sinema?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Look, sometimes it'll be your own that stab you in the back. Because you know what he's trying to do now, right? You know he's trying to coax her into the Republican Party.
Of course.
And she'll go.
Well, I'm surprised she hasn't gone yet.
That's where the money is. She'll go. There's no money in her being an independent. So she'll go and she'll run against Gallego as a Republican and she'll lose. Because see, the thing is what she's not anticipating is that Latino vote. Gallego is very popular among the Latinos in Arizona. Very popular.
So with this removal from the committee, Ms. Omar's, do you feel her star will shine bright again one day?
You know, like she said, I'll wait a year. And next year, you know what? They might not put her back on. But 2024, we have another election. Next year, we have another election.
Yes.
And guess what? The Republican show that we keep seeing every day with the House and the disorganization and infighting, Americans can't trust them. And you know why it's going to be really good for Democrats too is because they do not have a plan for any kind of government.
I'm hearing more and more people say that. What is their plan?
Their plan is exactly what Donald Trump wants, which is revenge on his and their political enemies. That's it. That's their plan.
How does that help the country?
It doesn't. But you know what? You got to remember, their voters, they don't care if they are broke, living in a trailer park, have one tooth in their mouth, and have to feed their baby Mountain Dew in a bottle. They don't care. All they care about is the fact that those people hate the people that they do.
That is crazy. That is really doesn't make any sense. A party with no policies.
Well, remember a couple of years ago, Mitch McConnell said that we're not going to have a platform.
Yeah, famous words when Obama came to office. Anything he
Our
does,
look, our only goal is to stop him, is to make him a one-term president. That's it.
No policies to go against him. Just
Mm-hmm.
by any means necessary, just stop him.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I I had the Grammys on the background,
Yeah.
right? Well, they're doing their tribute to people who died, and I just saw that Dr. Kwame died, who was the director of the Fisk Jubilee Singers, and I went to Fisk, and so it just caught me off guard because I didn't know he died. He died recently, so I didn't
Yes,
know that.
he did.
I just happened to look up, and it just caught me off guard. But he was there. He was there when I was there.
Wow.
And he trained some of the best singers, including some of my friends. So that's why it just shocked me for a minute. Sorry.
No problem. It's okay. It's okay. You can multi-purpose with the best of them. So you got it all down. So, are there any other Democrats? Do you feel the Republicans are targeting? Did they get who they wanted? So,
they haven't gotten AOC yet.
okay.
They're going after her. They're going to try and find a way to go after Cori Bush. Who else? They're not coming for Hakeem. They don't have the balls to do that. But yeah, I think they're going to go after them, and I don't know who else yet, but it's going to be they're just going to hold committee after committee meeting after committee meeting. Like, for example, this last committee meeting that they had was really ridiculous, where Marjorie Taylor was like talking about CRT, and the way that she was talking about it was kind of like, bitch, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what it is. You're asking questions about something you don't even know what it is. It's like, and you realize in listening to her that her understanding of it is, she's like, which is a very racist theory. It's like, no, if you understand it as a racist theory, then you don't understand it. Because basically, bottom line, critical race theory is about how Black people interact with the justice system. Period. That's it, simplified.
Should Americans really care about what's going on in government anymore? Because it seems that it's so out of touch.
As long as they keep taking our tax dollars, we should.
Yeah, but it just seems that it's so like. Just seems like the Republicans and then Democrats, all they do is committee after committee. How's that helping the everyday American?
Here's the thing. Our political process has not been changed since the drafting of the Constitution, and the rules were established for a Congress. They haven't changed the rules. And that's part of the problem. Here we are, how many centuries later, and the rules are still the same as they were in 1776. I mean, any other forward-thinking democracy knows that you have to change with the times, and you have to revise as the times, as the times change. And we add amendments to our Constitution, but we leave some of the most antiquated parts there. And it's also how we run government. It's like the political process is exhausting. Okay, so a bill has to be introduced in a committee before and voted on, and testimony, all that stuff before it can be brought to the floor. If the committee votes to bring it to the floor, they talk to whomever, and then they decide if they're going to bring it to the speaker decides if they can bring it to the floor. They bring it to the floor, they debate the bill, and then they take a vote on it. Fine. Then they send it over to the Senate. So the Senate can present the bill, or the Senate might put it in committee. Then they will bring it to the floor. They will debate the bill. Then they'll take a vote on it. Then they'll send it back to the House. The House will debate the changes that the Senate made. Then they will vote on them. And then they will send it back, and then finally to the president. It's ridiculous. Look at all that red tape. that people want to know why it takes so long for things to get done. It's because of that process.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: not only are the bills taking so long to get through, the date for the bills to be implemented is years out, and Americans don't understand this. Whatever they signed is not necessarily going to take effect immediately. It might not take effect till 2025. And then in 2025, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is so bad. Who did this? This is horrible. Oh, let's blame the party that's in power now. But it's not the party that's in power that put that through. It's the one before. And so I think what I think personally is that Americans are very, very oblivious to how our political system works. And it's on purpose. It is on purpose. They've removed, my mother was telling me when she was in high school, they had to take a civics class to learn these things. Our kids don't take civics specifically. What they do is, or what they thought they did, was incorporate it into U.S. history. And so that by incorporating it into U.S. history, it gets a very small piece of it. So people don't get the everything that they need and all the information that they need. And it's kind of tragic, right? Because we have people who, personally, it's almost like you need a license to vote, because we have people who vote who don't even know how the political process works. Most people who vote don't know how the political process works.
That's concerning.
Mm-hmm.
That's really concerning. That is.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow. Wow. Messy. Oh boy. So it seems that the House and the Senate will just continue going on their own disjuncted ways. Nothing's going to get done.
No.
Jeez.
Mm-mm.
It's not good.
Here's the thing: if the Senate does a bill, and the Senate is in Democratic control, any bills that the Senate does, they have to send it to the House for the House to vote on it. And with the Republicans having control of the House, not going to happen.
Wow.
So stay tuned.
Oh, there's every week, every day, it's just like always changing, all the movement. Like
To be continued.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking about staying tuned.
But wait, did you see the other thing that I sent you guys today? He is being accused of sexual harassment.
George Santos.
Yes, he's being accused of sexual harassment by someone that was supposed to be like a hired clerk or something, and is a hired staffer for him. Then they didn't hire him after the incident. I mean, I read his description. He described George Santos as sitting next to him, groping him on his legs and stuff,
What?
and telling him, my husband's out of town. You want to come over? Just insane stuff. And the guy left, and then the next day they rescinded the job offer. So now he filed a complaint of sexual harassment against George Santos. So he he stepped down from his panels, and now he's got this. I'm kind of like, at what point do you people realize that the ship is on fire and it's going to sink? Jump off.
Wow.
Get rid of, if you lose the seat, you lose the seat. But if the focus is going to be on him, and this is good for Democrats. This is a good thing for Democrats, because if he is the focus of, in the media about what the Republicans are doing, it doesn't look good. It looks like they have too many distractions and too many bad apples.
Jeez. Do you think he'll eventually resign?
Please. Please. He got that good paying job now, $212,000 a year, up from his $50,000. Please.
But what would If you were advising him, what would you tell him?
Step down, quit, leave, resign, because it's not going to get better. And then if those sexual harassment, if that complaint turns into a charge, you will have to leave anyway.
Yeah. Wow. Scary, scary. And for people who don't know his backstory, Aisha, could you give us a little backstory? Sorry, I have to ask you. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, George Santos isn't even his name. It's like George de Voltaire or something like that. He claims he went to some semi-Ivy League school and was on the volleyball team. He never went to that school. He claims he had several different corporate jobs, which he never had. He claims his mother died in 9/11, which he did not. He claimed at one point he was biracial, black and white, which he is not. He also claimed that he was Jewish, and then he turned around and said, no, he's not Jewish, he's Jewish. And what else? He lied about where his campaign funding came from. He said that he put $750,000 of his own money into the campaign, then turned around and said, no, I didn't say that. He's an embarrassment.
but that's the oxymoron, Aisha. Truth, politician, that's an oxymoron these days.
But you know, Republicans have a diversity issue. So they want to keep him because he is LGBTQ and he's Latino. He solves their diversity issue. Checks all the boxes.
I don't know if he'll ever resign either. I think he's just going to wait for it to die down and just continue on.
Mm-hmm.
He has nothing to lose. Well, he has everything to lose if he resigns. He's going to start his life all over again.
Well, he's going to try and fade into the background over the next year and a half until he's voted out. That's all.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's go to our final conversation. But you picked the hit parade tonight. You got George Santos, now you got Tim Scott. Now, before you get deep into it, can you give some background on people on who Tim Scott is? And you know a little about him.
I do. Tim Scott is a senator from South Carolina. I used to live in South Carolina. And Tim Scott is what is he? The only Black Republican in the Senate?
Yes, he is.
And Tim Scott's very Uncle Remus-like. I'm amazed. He will, on one hand, say, well, you know, I'm a Black man, I understand this, and then does everything in his power to undermine the progress of Black people. I mean, I've never seen anyone kiss so much Lindsey Graham. It's not funny. Tim Scott, right now, the problem is the George Floyd Policing Act. They're trying to resurrect it, particularly after this Tyree Nichols murder.
Yep.
Tim Scott is standing in the way. He agreed because him and Cory Booker and Kamala Harris had introduced the bill together, which, you know, I give him props for that because his party did not want him to. But he agreed to help with bipartisan legislation. But my problem with him now, and this is the issue, after what we saw, he said that the bill, the original George Floyd Policing Act bill, is a non-starter. So basically he wants to go in and rewrite the bill, but the way he wants to rewrite it is so that it's just providing money and funding for training. Okay, Tim Scott, I hope you're listening. You can't train away bias. You can't train away bigotry. And you can't train away poor recruitment strategies.
Mm-hmm.
There are things you can't train away. It doesn't matter. We're throwing a whole lot of money into the training. And it's just good money after, throwing good money after bad. It's just like keep throwing money. You keep throwing money at a problem without solving the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, there's no amount of money that is going to fix people's inherent racism. None. There's no money that is going to fix the fact that there is a culture. Because the fact that these men were Black, okay, tells you that it's more than just racism. It's indoctrinated racism on Black people's part, but it is a culture that has to be dismantled totally, start to finish. And side note, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated did kick three of those men who killed Tyree Nichols out of their fraternity permanently. So if the Qs can do that, why can't the United States government figure out how to do this? Okay, because the training, what's the training going to do? And police officers who are already in the field, and I've talked to several, will say we get a lot of training, we get continuous training and professional development. But some of the training, there was a woman who was on the radio. I was listening to her on talk radio the other day, and she was saying, you know what, the training, some of the training that they give us is what they tell us is like, hey, make sure you say this and say that. Oh, stop resisting, so that you can get away with it, even if they're not resisting. It's like, what? This is why are we putting money for training for people to get away with crime? Okay. If you're criming, you do not need to be a police officer.
No.
Period. It's like they're letting the criminals run the system.
Well, some people would say they're criminals themselves.
Exactly. And it just, I don't understand why Tim Scott is playing this Republican game right now, because he knows well, if he was driving in along one of those private highways back up in Saluda County, South Carolina, by himself and had a broken taillight, he would be like Tyree Nichols. He would be like Walter Scott. He knows this. So why is he doing this? Is something I will never understand. I will never understand that kind of Black person. I will never understand the Black people who are all supporting Ron DeSantis in this thing about the African American studies, because they don't want the intersectionality of feminism and queer studies. I will never understand that. They'd rather not learn their history than to be inclusive. I will never understand why you have Black people who will go along to get along. And Tim Scott is one of those people. He's always been this way, even when he was in the State House in South Carolina.
Wow.
Always. And it's just, it's not even sad. It's just disappointing. It's very disappointing because, you're the only Black Republican senator. You could be a role model for kids.
Yeah.
But instead, you're making the world less safe for them. Black kids could look up to you, but you don't want the Black kids to admire you. You want the white kids to admire you because you want their parents' money. And in my book, that makes Tim Scott and Uncle Tom.
Okay. Say it loud. Say it loud.
I say it loud and unapologetically.
Okay. That message is endorsed by Aisha K. Staggers. Her thoughts on Mr. All right. Jen says, hello, Dr. Vibe. I am late tonight. No worries. At least you stopped by. That's good. Yeah, I think that Mr. Scott's a very interesting individual. I even heard some rumblings of him maybe running.
For president? Negro, please.
Not a good career move.
There will never be a Black Republican president.
Not in our time, I don't think.
I hope not.
That was
honestly. Because
that was
the Black Republicans that I see walking around here, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Oh my gosh. Well, you never know. You never know what goes on. But yeah, black Republican president, I don't think you're going to see that in our time.
Mm-mm.
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Well, Aisha, I know there is a television show you're watching,
Well, it's just on in the background.
but thank you for taking some time tonight. And we're speaking that next time we're on, it's going to be this coming Saturday, that the gang will be
Hopefully,
back.
all three of us will be here.
Yes, the gang will be back. But I want to say thank you for taking the time to hang out with us for a bit today. And as always, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Twitter, Aisha Staggers. That's it.
That's it. That's all. And you've been tweeting a lot lately.
Yeah, I have my spurts.
Yeah,
I have a session where I'll keep, I'll tweet quite a bit, and then a day or two, nothing, because I'm just trying to center myself. And sometimes you got to get away from the toxicity online.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Gets pretty bad. I don't know how you, Jill, and LaLa does stuff on social media, but not too much political stuff. You and Jill, man, I read some of your stuff and go, wow, don't mess with Aisha and Jill. Don't mess with them.
Yeah, I say what I have to say, and people come back, and I said what I said. I'm not going to repeat it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to explain it. There's Google. Look it up. And then I ghost Twitter for a couple of days.
Is there anything we should be looking for in the upcoming week? Anything you're looking to?
This week, no, but I will be presenting at the
Yes, talk about
40th.
that.
Yeah, I will be presenting at the 40th anniversary of the 1999 Vanity Six and What Time Is It albums at NYU conference that is held she has one every year, and there's always some anniversary of Prince. So this year I will be presenting on March 31st.
Virtual or in person?
I will be in person, but you can also watch it virtually.
Yes, no. Well, when you get those details, please give it to us so we can share with the family here. I would love to see it.
Yeah, and my presentation is going to be on Vanity Six and the Black female sexual aesthetic of the 80s.
Wow. Interesting. Ooh, see, Aisha don't play family. Look at this. Blue Rain says, "Great symposium. I'll be watching virtually." So, see, we're already ready.
This is like my third or fourth one, because I did one on Prince's Love, Sexy Fashion, and Hip Hop, and then I did one. Yeah, and then I did one on his Rainbow Children album and 7 ways in which he promoted in the indelible blackness of Prince.
All right. Well, and so family, if you just think Aisha doesn't do anything, just comes on the show and hangs out, she got a lot going on. Got going on. Jen is saying, Aisha, that's great. Absolutely. We are very excited on that opportunity for you. That is fantastic. All right. So we'll see you in a few days, I'm sure. And we'll see you online, definitely. Well, unless you're taking a break from all your activity recently. But enjoy the rest of the Grammys. And obviously, when we come back on, we'll get a download of everything in Grammys, I'm sure. Well, I don't know if Jill's watching. I have a feeling LaLa's watching it. I have a feeling she's watching it. So we'll back channel each other during the week. But as usual, to you and your daughter, make sure you just don't manage your time, manage your energy, and give yourself grace. Thank you. All right. We are almost done. So, family, different program this week because don't have my internet, so I'm at my parents' place so you can see the background of all this stuff going on. But as always, I'd like to thank everyone who took time to watch this live on the replay or listen to it on the replay. As always, check us out on a different platform. So if you want to see replays of this show, You can go to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, or you can go to my website, drvibeshow.com. If you want to promote your business or service on the show, contact me at my email address, not my website address, email address, dr.vibe at drvibeshow.com. If you want to touch base with me, those are all the different places. The website, email address I've given, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Twitter at drvibeshow, and Instagram, the drvibeshow. So, and also too, last few things, subscribe wherever you're watching this, especially on YouTube. On YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification button. Everywhere else, just subscribe. And also too, if you want to catch me in virtual session on how to podcast, last session is on February 16th. All things podcasting. The last session is open Q&A. So I know people are going to stump me, but I'm going to do my best to have the answers. All right. So that is that. So let's call it an evening. Remember, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller, get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. We will hopefully see you on Saturday coming up. And no outro tonight because for some reason the bandwidth, internet issues won't allow it. So we're just going to do this. We're going to leave with the picture of the 3 stars of the show. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith. Walk good and have an outstanding week.